So, hello, n0trixx. Thank you for giving me some of your time for that interview. You know my first question. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Coping well.
uh,
How are
so,
you?
I'm good. I'm good. Always good when I'm talking with you. Uh,
Exactly. It's very nice to see you. You make me smile each time we talk.
so it's not the first time that I do an interview with you, so no need to take 10 minutes to introduce you. But to sum up, your name is n0trixx.
In the previous episodes.
In the yeah. So your name is n0trixx. You are an artist, a singer, a producer, and much more. You were born in Russia. You have to leave the country after protesting against the Russian government and against the war in Ukraine. You lived in Turkey for a few years. Now you live in UK. What a life! And also, one important thing to know about you, if people don't know, is that you live with a few mental issues, including depressive disorder, dissociative identity disorder, and borderline disorder. That was a good way
That's right.
to sum up who you are.
Very, very, very good summary of the previous episodes.
But today, we are not here to talk about your mental issues, especially or whatever, because we already did it so much time. We are here to talk about your first ever album, a Catalogue of Madness and Melancholia, un catalogue de folie et de mélancolie.
Actually, the first version of that name of the album was in French.
Really?
They changed it. I chickened out. I thought, well, people won't be able to put it in.
What was the title?
Know how it goes. You know how it goes with certain people who only speak one language. They can only use their own words. It was le catalogue des émotions something. I don't remember. Des émotions something. I don't remember. But it was something in French. It might come back to me.
So that album is a concept album where each song is about mental issues. Let's start with what we see.
Le catalogue de santé mentale.
Le catalogue de la santé mentale.
I think, or something like that.
You forgot an article. Take care, because I
Of course.
hate.
Of course, that's why I changed it, so that it doesn't piss me off. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, so let's start with what we see here. So the title first. How did you choose that title, that very long title?
Well, to be honest, a friend helped me pick that one. That's a reference to some. So, I wanted to go somewhere in the earlier times where people were just learning about mental health issues, but they had no clue. And you know, those times even before Sigmund Freud, where people thought actually very, very realistically thought that mental health was connected to physical health, and they were trying to find ways to cure people from mental health issues through physical treatment, like lobotomy, right? In those times, those treatments for mental asylum patients were quite severe. So I wanted to go, have a little bit of a throwback to those times, and the reason why is because of what we know about mental health right now would not make us go there. So we are so much better at treating people who suffer with certain like some even worse mental health disorders, we treat them with more respect and love, and that's what I was trying to do with this record too. I was my whole idea was to give love to people who struggle, and to show them that it's okay. But for that, I wanted to also go back and give a little glimpse of those terrible times when all those things I would probably have ended up in an asylum myself back in those days. So yeah, that was kind of a way of naming it, giving a little reference to those times. And yeah, so Madness and Melancholia was one of the ways that they referred to depressive episodes in those earlier papers, manuscripts about mental health.
Yeah, everything was madness back in the days.
Exactly.
Lucky for you, you live in 2026 and not in Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you talked about lobotomy, and yeah, the cover art made me think about lobotomy.
Yeah.
It's
Again, cover art was made by me, apart from the graphics of my face that is present on my merch and on the CD, and on my tour posters. That was made by a professional designer called
Emilia?
Max. No. Emilian was doing all the artworks for singles, but that one was a professional designer who does my graphics, called Brainworks, and I just used that very graphics, and then what I wanted to do on the artwork is to put a lot of elements from, again, those olden days where I would probably, again, I do believe I would end up being lobotomized or locked off. So that's kind of a way to start with that, like saying, and also the first very track on the album, the intro, is also has those scary sounds of which are supposed to tell you that you're entering an insane asylum. So again, that's a way of kind of starting you on a very, very scary journey, very unsettling journey, a way of saying, okay, this is where you are right now. Things are not going to be easy. We're going to explore a lot of people's minds, and see if you can make it out alive.
You still have CDs if some people want to buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I restocked. I sold well over 100 and
Oh,
was still selling.
congrats.
Yeah.
n0trixx.com, right?
Yes.
Vinyls? No vinyls?
I do think I need to look into it. I haven't yet, but yeah, with the amount of CDs sold, I think I have quite a good chance to sell vinyls too. So I will. I promise I will.
Yeah, I want to see this cover art in big format, So we're gonna talk about each and every songs of the album, because there is a meaning, a strong meaning behind them, and a story. And the first one is the introduction. We never talk about introduction, so for the first time in history, we will talk about an introduction into the depth. So tell me how you created that introduction that you said before it was to make people enter into the album and into the asylum.
Actually, thank you. That's one track that I really, really love and I'm very proud of. As with every single one, like almost every single track on the album, it was a pure coincidence that I made it, and I was like, oh my god, this belongs here. But it was me playing a lot of Silent Hill 2 and ending up being like, oh my god, I want to make something like that would sound as creepy and intense as the sound, the sound design for Silent Hill. And I I want, finally, I can proudly say to you, because you asked, but all the voices on that track are mine. That's how insane I am. There's those ooh that like, and I do believe that they sound very realistic. But yeah, there's soundscapes and creaky sound design, but also there's sounds of that I was trying to make sound like really mentally unwell people, and I made them all myself. So yes,
I would like so much to see the behind the scene of you recording those crazy voices.
no, never happening.
Oh, you will do it.
That's something I genuinely do when I work on things like that. I do get very deep into my brain, so that is an actual proper like session. There are some things that I recorded. I was literally just crying, like my eyes out and screaming into the mic. So yeah, I do those things sometimes. And then when you listen to it, you're like, whoa, it really sounds real. And that's because I genuinely do put an effort to, make it. So.
Yeah. But for such a concept album, it's really important, I think, to have an introduction to put your listeners into the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could not choose to make something happy for the introduction,
Right. That's right.
So after that first track, we have the first song of the album, Hysteria, Biggie. So this one is about depression and suicide ideation. If I'm not wrong, you wrote that song during a very specific moment of your life.
Yeah, it was a really, really, really bad depression. That was, I don't know, quite a few months long, like 6, 7 months long, I think. And I was pretty badly suicidal then. And I genuinely couldn't see any point in anything. And as always, the only reason that I'm still alive is my kids, who literally just stopped me in my tracks. But I went further than usual in that very episode. But anyway, I ended up writing that as a form of self-therapy and just trying to put my mind off things. But it was very hard, and it's really hard to run away from those ideations when they're haunting you and just chasing you the whole time. That was basically what the track was about. It's called Hysteria. Biggie. Biggie is the Russian for run. And throughout the whole track, I'm basically trying to find a way to run away from those thoughts. And then at the end, I was trying my hardest to put it on a kind of a positive spin. I also knew that with this track, it was about that very feeling I was having, but I didn't want it to sound exactly like depressing. I wanted to make it even more haunting by circumposing the things that I say in the lyrics, and the lyrics are really heavy. They're very, very poetic and with a lot of metaphors, but and they're in Russian, but they are really, really heavy, and so I wanted um to what did I say? Just to make a juxtaposition of the instrumental to the lyrics and make it sound a little bit haunting by making it sound kind of not exactly what you would expect from a track about depression. So yeah, and then I put a kind of a positive spin at the end, making it feel very, very exhilarating. So that was the full thing. And besides, I wanted it to be a dance track so that I could dance to it and just let it go.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So there is a video clip for that song, and at the end you can see the actress dancing, and the sound becomes very dancey as well, and so it's the image of you who wants to dance on your own depression instead of putting an end to your life, right?
Yes, and that video is about me, and I didn't want to star in it. I wanted someone else to be the star of that video, and I filmed it and directed it, which was an amazing experience for me. I was obsessed with the idea, and I wanted the actress to well, basically, she's running away from someone haunting her, but that the person haunting her is actually not the person. It's her own suicidal ideations, and she was running away from them. That's exactly how it always felt to me. Like I run away from them over and over and over again, and as soon as I stop, they catch up on me and catch up with me, and they're impossible to ignore. And basically when she's at her home alone, when she's not running anymore, when she's not moving, when she's not she's trying to escape, but it's almost impossible. That person is already in every room, and then she goes to the mirror, and then she sees him being basically her. So that's exactly how it feels to me. And so I wanted to make a video about suicide, but being not on the nose, being like, oh yeah, I'm standing on the cliff. No, I wanted to portray it exactly how it feels to me.
I can't imagine how difficult it was to do that video clip, because there are some shots in the streets, and you can see no human beings beside the two actors. So did you tell people get away, get away?
That was one of the things that was like, we were trying our best. They actually, if you look at it closer, and here's a note to it, everyone who's ever watched it, to watch it again, because there is one fuck up, there is one person. And when I was editing it, I was like, damn. And then the next thing was like, yeah, whatever. Just leave that person there. It's fine. No one will ever notice, but there is that person.
I will find.
So for those who, for the geeks, for the nerds, it's time to watch it again and see if you can find. But I think it's easy.
That's a good. I think there is nobody, and it's just a good way for you to make some views, so people will look again, and they will never find.
Exactly. But it's still cool, you know, because the main idea was to make sure that it feels lonely. It feels really lonely, and yeah, we did have to make an effort to avoid the public.
A little something that you did with the title of the song, Biggie, it's that, okay, yeah, in Russian it's written this way. I will write it after while editing.
Yeah.
But you took the Russian E and you reversed it as a N. Why did you do it?
What else has 4 letters and one of them reversed? Okay, side note, me and John are massive corn groupies. No, actually, it's just a funny coincidence that thing with Biggie. Actually, it's awesome. Look, this is exactly like corn being English and 1 letter is Russian, and mine is Russian and 1 letter is English. I never looked at it that way, but now I know it's fun. No, it's just it's a Russian meme. Whenever someone tries to say like, run away from that person, and like make it even punchier, it's like they write it like that because like it's so creepy, and I was like, I really love it. I just really love it, so I just made it that way. That's it.
The next song is Revenge on God, featuring, oh my god, n0trixx, maybe?
Combre. Well, that's
Combre.
how I pronounce
I don't know,
it.
because
Maybe I am wrong. Goodness.
he has a band from Belgium called Velastria.
Yeah,
and
he's Belgian.
some part of Belgium is French speaking, so I don't know if he is.
No, he's Flemish.
Oh, he's Flemish. Okay. But Belgium is very, very
Yeah.
close to me, so I can be there in 30 minutes. His band is called Velastria, if I didn't say it. This song is about dementia, and it's a real life story, right?
Yeah, so this is one of the songs that is not from my own personal experience, but here's how I create some songs. There's something that I feel extremely connected to, and there's something that I feel like, oh my god, this is such a mind-blowing story. I really want to write about it. And this was a story of a real-life person who slaughtered his wife, like literally mutilated her to pieces, in meltdown, psychotic meltdown. He thought he was taking his revenge on God. And he really loved his wife. That's the craziest thing about him. What that made me feel is like, oh my god, this is how crazy our brains can go if we don't take care of our mental health. He was diagnosed with dementia, and basically this was because that just gone too far. Because he didn't even realize what he was doing. He was on an absolute different in absolute different universe inside of his brain, and that's, to me, that is a very important story, because like this just screams, take care of your mental health, make sure that those things don't happen. And basically, yeah, I just wanted to share that very story in my own way, to go into that and break it down and show with my sound every single stage that he must have been going through. So there's violence, there is remorse, there is confusion, there is violence again, and it's just like spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. I just thought it is just, yeah, insane. Well, obviously it's like, as every story which impacts you, it's got those things, and obviously I'm extremely sorry for him and his family. But yeah, it was just so interesting to work on something like that and put it in an audio form. So yeah, that's just what I did.
Yeah, it's not the first time that you take a real crime to make it into a song. You did it with a narcissistic
That's exactly what it reminds me of. Yeah, it was exactly the same way. I watched a video on YouTube. I got mind blown. I was like, oh my god, I want to write a song about it.
Is it your most metal song ever?
I believe so. Yeah. Do you think too?
If I ask, I believe, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I think so.
The next song is Harmless. This one is about borderline personality disorder. You have this disorder, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's one of the 200 disorders that you have. This song is very raw. Is it because it's a very personal song?
That is the toughest one. Was the toughest one for me to write, because, well, to be honest, it's just so personal that it was a huge responsibility for me to write it the right way. I hope I did a good job, but it's it's like when you're trying to do the best in something that matters to you the most. You turn very self-critical, so I'm obviously very self-critical on this one. This one makes me anxious. But yeah, it's about some things that I went through last year, and yeah, painful.
In that song, you use a very, I would say, soft voice in the beginning, a voice that you are not used, that is very unusual for you.
There might be more of it.
Yeah, I think there is more, but I don't know. It was very, to me, when the song began, it was the softest that you ever did, and then it becomes more angry.
See, that's well, yeah, that's a lot of how borderline personality disorder works. It's like you when the meltdowns happen, they're really really difficult times, and you just go from 0 to 100 immediately. So that's what I was trying to illustrate then, going from 0 to 100. But yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, genuinely, that's just such a painful thing for me. I did do everything I could to make it feel exactly how I felt and how it works with my head sometimes. So I have been to lots of therapy for it, so I am quite well versed in everything and how to deal with it and stuff like that. But still, a very hard thing to cope with. So.
But I believe that that album was a very big vocal challenge for you. Did you take listen to make your voice even better or stuff like that, or you learn everything by yourself?
No, this time no. It was just lots of practice and lots of covers and things like that. So I'm just constantly working like all the time in perfecting things. I know I'm getting a lot better with every single day. So that's there's gonna be more like that. I'm pretty certain. But yeah, it was tough. I jumped over my own head, and I'm quite happy with that.
The next song, that's where the interview is gonna be a little bit weird for me. That song is Et toi. Et,
Yes,
et
and
oui.
it was written with my friend and journalist.
Journalist. You like to call me a journalist, huh? So
I love to call you journalist. Yeah, you are literally interviewing me right now.
that's true. So that song is about dissociative identity disorder. Once again, something that you have, but people can watch the previous episode if they want to learn more. So that song is in 3 languages: French, Russian, and English. And as you said, it was written by 2 persons, you and me. Should we talk about how the idea of that song came?
I want to talk about it. I want to talk, like, John here was probably, I've had so much fun writing this together with you, because that was my first ever experience of writing lyrics together with someone else. And it was amazing. Genuinely amazing. So much fun. We were just blasting things back and forth, bouncing off each other. And John actually even helped write some of the Russian lyrics, which is crazy. Those in the end was amazing, because we both speak all 3 languages in the song, and that's how we decided that we want to do it, because we both speak the same languages. And obviously I do speak French, but I don't speak it well enough to be so well versed to pick different things and rhymes and everything. So that wouldn't have been possible without John's help. Yeah, I think we had so much fun doing it.
Yeah, and I do think that it was very natural for us.
Yeah.
I had the huge responsibility of starting the song, and
Yeah.
it was in French. And even though I'm French, writing in English is so much easier. And I had to suddenly write in French. The first idea was to write a song inspired by Korn once again. And then there was this song that you released where you say two words in French, Le Poulet, with FMA, with the Narrative Virgin crew, Le Poulet à la Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I heard that and I put a comment on Instagram, and then we transform it into creating...
Le Poulet à la Kentucky.
Yeah. And then we transform it into writing a song in different languages without talking about poulet, which is a chicken for people who don't speak French. But we kept a little bit of corn in that song because et toi means hey you in English. And
and then they used this idea in their latest song.
Yeah, that's it. Jonathan Davis liked to write AU in many songs, and they did it recently with the new amazing song that they released.
Yes.
Yeah, and there is even this sentence at the beginning, like I say, en vain dans la haine tu m'as laissé pourrir, in vain in the hate you let me rot, rotting in vain. So many stuff like, yeah. It was not easy to write in French.
Lots
but
of Easter eggs.
Yeah. Even about your own songs.
There's how do you say?
We say Easter eggs actually when we talk about.
I'm disappointed.
les œufs de Pâques, but we say Easter eggs.
Les œufs de Pâques.
Yeah, Pâques is Easter. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, when I talk about tu te souviens des maudits non-dits? Non-dits is unspoken words in French, and it's about your song Do I Exist, when you talk about unspoken words.
Yeah.
So lots of references.
The song is basically our exercise on DAD. I wrote 2 other songs about DAD before, and I don't want to repeat myself because those 2 seems to me have said a lot, like almost everything about my case, but this one is a little bit of an exercise about how it would feel if the DAD system spoke 3 languages, and all of them, those alters inside of that system, would be arguing with each other.
Even though that song is about DID for you, there is also a personal meaning for me in that. And I don't know about you, but I like if anybody who listens to a song can find their own meaning in it.
Yep.
So if someone wants to think that this song is not about DID or my personal meaning, but about, I don't know, chicken, they can. Maybe, I think that the world needs to know about...
Les œufs de Pâques.
No, I think that the world needs to know about the pizza.
Oh yes. That's one awesome thing. I asked John to make every song that I produce myself has my producer tag, and usually it was one by a good friend of mine, always the same one, where he says, what does he say? Damn n0trixx, this shit really bangs. So I asked John to record that producer tag for me in French for the song. But of all the different versions that he recorded for me, I loved the one where he actually made the joke the most. What was the joke, John?
You told me that I could record anything, and I could
Anything.
say something about a pizza, and I think that I said something. n0trixx,
n0trixx, this.
n0trixx,
This is
tu
very
veux une
good.
pizza ou quelque chose comme ça, or something like that.
No, it's like n0trixx, this pizza is very good or something like that.
Oui, yes, that was hey, n0trixx, cette pizza est délicieuse. Hey, n0trixx, that pizza is delicious, something like that. And then I
And then you laughed, and that laughter felt so haunting to me that I decided that I will that very part. So this song has John's voice doing something very, very Krieg.
talking about pizza.
Yes, talking about pizza.
The next song is Saint Chaos, about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. You don't have that one.
Yeah. There is a massive suspicion that I do, but I haven't been diagnosed, so doesn't count.
You should stop at some point, I think.
Yeah.
Without any surprise, that song is very energetic.
Yes.
Like,
I made a whole point of producing it in a way where every single the song can't stay on the same subject for more than 20 seconds and gets distracted all the time. So it jumps from genre to genre to genre to genre, and that's like everything from like everything that I ever wanted to play with, like hard bass, psytrance. Well, obviously metal is part of it. Drum and bass, like I put everything in there, everything I wanted. Trap, obviously. So yeah, it was so much fun producing it. Also, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of approval rating, but yeah, it's very hard work to put all of those genres in one song and for it to sound consistent. And damn, yeah, I did it. It was like when I put those batches like together, and I was like, oh my god, how do I actually make it sound consistent? I pulled it off, so yeah. And it's one of my favorite ones to perform live. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. So far, each and every time made everyone sit down with me and jump up together with me. Absolutely rad.
yeah, but that song is definitely made for concert. Because it gives the irresistible envy to jump, to run, to 3D energy.
Yeah.
You know someone with ADHD to make it so perfect, right?
Who knows?
After that, we have the song Spectrum. This one is about autism. No lyrics for that song.
Yeah. So here's how it goes. I wrote 10 songs and considered my album done. And then I was like, wait a second. How the hell did I make an album about mental health issues and autism is not part of them? It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, there are some mental health issues that are not part of the album, which I'm like, oh, they should be there. But that one is like the biggest elephant in the room. It's like, dude, how do you make a mental health issues album and autism is not part of it? Especially given that I have so many friends, blessed with autism, and those that are very, very close to me, and I didn't make a song for them. So what I did, I went on to interview them. I went on to do my research, and I decided I'd make a track. But I already had an idea for that track. I wanted to make it electronic, purely electronic, so that I can also play it on stage as a special experience. So I played on like Launchpad, like right on the spot. but I was actually considering, I made a verse that I was supposed to sing on it, but it didn't sound right. And that's how it works. That's how I work with music. I just try whatever feels right for the concept, for the idea, and if it doesn't right, it just has to go. So lyrics didn't work. Like voices, well, there are some voices in there. It's me saying tick tack tock tick tick tack tock tock. That is my voice. Doing that's called stimming, or like echolalia slash stimming. That's both represent themselves. So stimming is, I mean, I wasn't trying to be like, stimming is when you're doing something over and over again to make yourself feel comfortable. But and it's like a repetitive thing. So that was kind of that. But then also there's echolalia, which autistic people catch with some sound, and it just doesn't leave their head. They have to repeat it over and over again. So that TikTok thing, it was kind of trying to represent those two things. And over the course of the song, it changes. It changes the voice, the pitch of it, but and the intensity as well. But yeah, so everything else that I did with my vocals didn't sound right at all and didn't fit the concept. But yeah, the whole idea was to show what if, probably, hopefully, like how it feels to have a meltdown when everything starts getting more and more and more overwhelming. And so far, judging from feedback, again, from the people who helped me with information, and from the people who I just met on tour, they did tell me that it hits home. So it sounds kind of like it should. So I again hope I did my job right.
Then we have the song Catalepsia about schizophrenia. This one is also a real life story.
Yeah, so that one is a very special one for me. I wrote it years ago when I literally just started music production. So it was 2020, and I was taking a course in music production. And that was basically my second track ever written on Ableton. So when I knew that that one was very special, and the reason why it was special, how I test a lot of my music, there's two things that my music has to pass. First is if it kind of is movable. Like, I really want every single song, no matter what it is about, no matter what it is like, I want it to be not just for the brain, but also for the body, because it's a very important thing to connect together. Well, apart from intro and outro, obviously, but still, it's like mind and body connection is extremely important for your mental health. So if you can't move to my music at my gig, then this is not a right place for your mental health. So, and that's what I push so hard with when at my gigs. I make a point of making people move, because if they don't move, they won't have a good time for their mental and physical health. So the this is one thing that I always check, and the second thing that I always check for my music is whether it makes me feel something. If it, especially if it's a sad song, if it doesn't make me want to cry, then it's not good. So, and catalepsia, had that effect on me that I can actually put it on and start crying. Like almost at any single point in time. It really has those sounds. It really has those raw emotions that make me go absolutely crazy. And so it might not, when I took it from my archives and started working on it again, like enhancing it and making it better, like improving some things that I've learned over the 6 years of productions experience. It might still not sound exactly like 100% up to my standards, which is why it made me extremely anxious. But to release it with the rest of my album, but it does have this rawness that sounds real and sounds special. And again, I feel like it worked because a lot of people told me that it's a very special one on the album. So that each time when I hear that, it makes me feel so nice. It's just like really genuinely sweet, because yeah, it was making me so anxious. But one interesting thing about the song is that I am really bad with my motor skills, which is why I don't play a single music instrument. But I did 7 years of piano school, and I still can't play the piano. I was trying to record the piano myself, and so I made the notes. I wrote down all the chords. I had it all programmed. So how I made those piano tracks is I program them with same as I do with a lot of my guitar tracks that I then later send to guitarists, who are mostly those people featured on my tracks. And with the third track, I was like, okay, I can't do this. Can't possibly do this. I need someone to record the piano for me. And guess what? I put it on my story, and who responded was a mutual friend of mine, Warren Willis. And I think it was later in long conversation, he just tells me, "Oh yeah, well Chester, oh yeah, we toured together on his last tour." I was like, "What?" Turned out that he was the DJ. He was replacing the Linkin Park's DJ for the final tour for Chester. And so to me, that was the biggest honor ever to have him on my track recording the piano for me. But even more interesting, when he recorded the piano for me, he was like, you know what? One of those chords doesn't sound right. It's not in the key. And I was like, we're not changing it. And I'm so proud of that because, yeah, it might not sound very particularly common or in key or whatever, but that was exactly what I wanted, because the song is, like you said, based on a real life story. It's based on an interview with a schizophrenic who was, it was in the 70s or something, or
60s, I
he was
believe.
yeah, maybe 60s. Yeah, he was interviewed, and this interview is available on YouTube. And he said in that interview that all he ever wanted to do was to play the piano for the people, and he got locked up. And that very phrase resonated with me so much. I was like, oh my God, this is me. This is me. I could have ended up like him. I only ever wanted to make music, but my life turned upside down so many times with my mental health issues and stuff that I wasn't even able to do the thing that I feel like I'm meant to be doing. And I could have ended up like him. And so what I wanted to do is I decided to make a track where he would take the center stage And when there's piano playing, there's no voice, there's no nothing. He is the center stage, even though it was not him. But I wanted to make it like as an actual schizophrenic person when we playing it. So it had to sound really unsettling. It had to sound really weird because it's had to sound really technical, which is why I'm not very good for that job. But it's had to sound very like crazy, and that's what it is, and it sounds particularly like that, I believe. So yeah.
And you even used the voice of that man in the song, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sampled. It's part of the song.
Yeah. And you already answered my next question, but I mean, Warren Willis, Linkin Park, the guy was an engineer and a technician for Linkin Park. And on the last tour, he replaced Johan, who is the DJ for Linkin Park.
Yep.
And yeah, the guy played on stage with Chester Bennington and with Linkin Park, and now he's on your album. The world is small. The world is small.
Yeah, and dreams come true.
Yeah, it's only the beginning. Mark my words.
Cool.
Then we have Living Nightmares with your friends from FMA and 12 Gauge. This song is about psychosis. Funny thing is that FMA is autistic and 12 Gauge has ADHD, no?
No, dyslexia.
Dyslexia, right? But you didn't choose a song about autism or dyslexia for them.
Yeah, well, that was actually kind of a special thing. It's like FMA just volunteered to be on this track, and he did such an amazing job with lyrics, and I believe that it made it sound especially haunting. I felt like I was done with the song already when he jumped on board. I felt I don't have any more to add to the song. Just again, it just felt like this is where it ends. But because of his struggles, he's done an amazing job giving his side on the subject. But also what it is, then I also added samples of almost every person on that I talked about on this record. So there is this person from the dementia track that I wrote the track about. He is there saying, I've already died. There's no help for me. I already died. It's a sample from his video. There is a sample from the schizophrenic person's video. There's a lady speaking French there. And there's also another... Huh?
I didn't hear.
Oh, yeah, well, now you can listen to it again.
I will.
She said, je suis très mal dans ma peau. I think she had, yeah, it's a lady with DID.
Okay.
Speaking French. And then there's another schizophrenic Russian person with a phrase. I didn't mean there to be two schizophrenic people, but he just said something that again just struck me so hard. Is like literally a phrase, again, makes me want to cry. So basically that person in Russian says to all those who I ever hurt, be happy. And that was, it just struck me so hard. So that was an interview with a Russian person locked up in a really bad place for criminals with schizophrenia. And yeah, he hurt a lot of people, but like he just said like be happy, and then it's just like it struck me so hard like how he would say that. And yeah, I just really wanted to include that in my song as well. So yeah, there's those people, and it's like there's footsteps of a person walking out of the asylum, basically.
And then we have Narc, I'm So Happy That You're Dead, about narcissistic abuse. Obviously not the easiest song for you. When I listen to that song, it's the one in the album with the most anger and sadness in your voice. It's your personal story about living a few years with a narcissistic person.
Funnily, FMA from FMA Post Royal Gauge is the one who suggested putting the song right before the end. So I initially I put it somewhere there between the other songs, and he said that this needs to be the way out of the album. It's like this is the way out of the asylum for me. That is the way out, because what I did, and obviously everyone's story is very different. And this was my part where I said, this is the reason why I am the way I am. This is the reason why a lot of suffering in my life took place. This is the reason why I'm so broken. A lot of my mental health issues would have been at least easier if maybe not even there. I don't know. But I would have definitely had a better chance at coping better if it weren't for that. And what I did, that was the most therapeutic moment maybe over my whole career. I just basically put an end to my own suffering, accepting the way I am, because one of the things that was very difficult because of me being a narcissistic abuse victim is accepting myself the way I am. Because I was always, even if I am, there was a therapist once gave me one little idea that maybe let's say I had ADHD, and we never know this, but because I did, that made the autistic or the narcissistic person in my life even more furious at me, not accepting the way I am. And just because of that, things just got worse and worse and worse with my self-esteem, with my BPD, with my sense of worthlessness, with my fear of abandonment. Like, so many things just like snowballed from there. And the biggest issue in my life was always not accepting myself the way I am. And this song was an end to it, was just saying, get the fuck out of my life. You don't belong this. You don't belong here in my head. I don't want to hear your voice anymore. I want you gone. And also the way I made the instrumental for it was also just kind of descriptive of all the tension, all the pain that I went through with this. And yeah, it just was the final nail in the coffin. I'm free. And that's where we go to the outro.
Mm-hmm. I think that today the best way for you to cope with that is to realize that today you are surrounded by people who accept you the way you are.
That's right.
So
That's right.
The past is the past, and now there is the present.
Yeah.
Many people around you. And the last track of the album is called You Are Loved, is the outro. You Are Loved is it a message to yourself or to the listeners?
Funnily, even my therapist said I should write that track. But it is everything. I also felt like there needs to be something balancing out all the pain and all the struggle, because this album is a very heavy one. There's a lot to go through and a lot to unbox, and I needed this. I owed my listener that very feeling of relief after listening to all of that, telling them that no matter who they are, no matter what they went through, no matter what I go through, we all will always find someone out there appreciating us the way we are. And that's the most important thing. And it took me so many years to understand that and, be more at peace with myself. So yeah, that's my way of balancing it out. It was also, I was trying to meditate, which is really, really hard for me sometimes, because of my never-ending energy. So, I was listening to a guided meditation track, and there were synths in there, and I was, my God, I need to make something with synths like this. And then I did, and that was that very mild meditation track. Oh yeah, I produced a special meditation track for my listeners to enjoy.
Okay, so we talked about every track of the album. How is the reception of the album so far?
Incredible.
More than
I
you could expect?
I am always trying to keep my expectations low. It's this music business is not a very, like, music career is not a very easy one. You're always gonna be underwhelmed by things. So I'm at all times trying to keep my expectations as low as possible for me to never get hurt. But the result has surpassed even my wildest dreams, because honestly, I had so many people, not just, to be honest, yeah, just everything I could ever hope for. There were so many people just saying how much it helps, like how much my music resonates with them and makes them feel seen and heard, which it means the world. There was also people, very, very, very professional people from the industry saying how good that record is, which is all, well, you've seen Metal Hammer saying that that's one of the best albums, and things like that. It just means the world to me. Feels amazing to have done my job right.
So congratulations for that album. It's a really huge one. I think that I have listened to it honestly 15 times maybe.
Wow.
Probably to prepare the interview, but also I have the CD, I put it when I work on my photos, and so yeah, it's a very good one, and we can only wait for the oh, I don't have the word, following.
Yeah, for what comes next.
If there is something we didn't talk about and you want to talk about, it's your moment.
Thank you. No, I just want to thank everyone who ever believed in me and who's been giving me their support. I genuinely feel blessed because the people who surround me these days, and those people who listen to my music, and the people that my music draws to me are just exceptionally beautiful, wonderful people, and I feel so blessed and thankful for their existence in my life, such as you, by the way.
Thank you.
You're one of them. But yeah, it's just beautiful, and it's so lovely. And so yeah, I wanted to once again give my gratitude to those beautiful souls who surround me.
So yeah, so people can find you on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere, Instagram,
With a
n0trixx.com.
0 and double X.
Yeah, with a 0, not a O, like it's written behind you. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a
yeah.
0 and double X.
Merci beaucoup, n0trixx. See you soon.
Merci beaucoup.
Bye.
Bye.